Hello, people. It's Storytime Saturday, and I'm doing this because I already did one outside and I thought it was Sunday, so I'm not putting that up till tomorrow. That was a Pekingese Paradise one. This is just Hyena and me, and we're going to do a story time. Hyena is in a blessing mood. She's giving all you blessings. Bottom feeders, mob wives, it don't matter. You're getting a blessing. Because unlike me, she believes in giving people chances, and I don't. Anyway, this story time. Oh, and I do want to call somebody out. Coach, I've never had any dealings with you, good or bad, but I love the way you're giving the bee some of her own medicine by playing her lives. I absolutely love it. What a unique idea. And the rest of you bottom feeders are kind of struggling. You don't have any content. Oh, that's too bad. It's too bad you don't have some story times. You were as old as me and had lived an exciting life and had as many men as I did. You might have a few story times. But you had all your little hopes and dreams rolled up into one person. How's that working out for you? Hyena. And I love the way the bottom feeders and the mob wives have merged, and turns out they're all the same. They're all cop collars, snitches, family members showing they're perfect for each other. We planned it just right, didn't we, Hyena? It's not hard to figure out when you got two groups of scavengers what's going to happen if you merge them. It's not hard to figure out. You don't even need a psychic dog to do that. Do it, baby. Hyena, and this is not up for debate. When you see my video tomorrow that I did today, you will see that I put summer cuts on some of my dogs. And I have never put a summer cut on Her Highness. But she's getting one. Probably when I finish this video. She's going to get a summer cut. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I don't want to hear about it. You're getting a summer cut because you go out there and get muddy and dirty. So she's getting a summer cut. You'll get to see her when I get it done. And I already put one on Presley and Boogie, but I've never put one on Picasso yet, and I don't think I'm going to put one on him yet. I got the Shih Tzus done. I got my poodles all done. They're all looking fine. So I just have these Pekingese to fool with. And I think a summer cut's going to come up for all of them. Yes, I think a summer cut is going to be exactly what they need. Now, Miss Lady, I think I'm done with you with the blessings. I think I'm done with your yeah, I already knew they don't have no content. And the mob wives don't have any either. Poor guys, they got to talk about pizza. That's all they've got. Go Trump. Hillbillies, rednecks, dirty forever and ever. Right, baby? Absolutely. Today, since I think I've done a story time on all, well, not actually 5, not all the way, but I talked about one, which lasted less than a year. We lived in Santa Barbara and the whole stewardess story and all that. Number 2 was my true love. We lasted maybe 2 years, not quite. Number 3 was my daughter's dad. He's the one that brought me to Texas. He's responsible for me being in Texas. I'd been to Texas, been through Texas. It didn't show me much. I wasn't impressed, but he got transferred. I am still a member of the Teamsters Union to this day. I still have a card. I'm also a member of the United Chemical Workers Union when I was in the mine. My ex worked for Champion Homes, a mobile home place in Campbell, New York. And they decided it'd be a good idea to vote the Teamsters in. Well, guess what? They voted the Teamsters in on a Friday, and the company closed their doors that Monday. But they gave all the managers and the drivers a chance to transfer to different Champion home plants. So my ex transferred to Wills Point, Texas. That's how we got down here. And there's one thing that Texans hate. I'm going to warn all you mob guys right now. You come down to Texas with that New York bullshit, it's not going to get you anywhere. They don't like Yankees, period, and they're not real sure of their geography. So if you're not from Texas, any other state you're from, you're a Yankee. Doesn't matter if it's Oklahoma, Arizona, you're a Yankee to them. So I not only come down here with New York State plates on my car, I also come down here loving my Buffalo Bills. Had Buffalo Bills stickers, Buffalo Bills shirts, and they hate anybody but the Cowboys. So I go to work at this salt mine. Got to Texas on a Wednesday, started working at the salt mine on a Friday with my Buffalo Bills shirts and my New York cocky attitude, even though I was a hillbilly. Still said New York State on my tags, on my car. And right away there were problems. Right away. Not only that, the Bills go to 4 Super Bowls and don't win any of them. That's when I quit watching football. That broke my heart. I even got in a physical fight with somebody over those Bills and got laid off work for 2 weeks fighting for them. Because I was wearing an AFC champion shirt, walking around, and this girl didn't like it, and her husband kind of egged us on, so we both got laid off for 2 weeks. So when they couldn't even win 1 Super Bowl out of 4, I quit watching football after that. That broke my heart. Die-hard Buffalo Bill fan. I watch O.J. Simpson play. That's how long I've been watching the Bills. So anyway, and then the New York State plates, and they hated Yankees, and then I had a good body, and they knew I was a little porn worker, so the women hated me. They hated me because the men were hanging around me. So I had all kinds of trouble and turbulation. But there was a guy from Michigan came down here with his wife because her dad was our boss. And he got transferred down here from Michigan. So we bundled up. There was only like 4 Yankees in the whole salt mine. It was me, a kid from Rochester, New York, Matt D'Amico, the guy I'm going to talk about from Michigan, but I'm not going to mention his name, and another guy from West Virginia. We hung together because we were it. We were the only Yankees there were, so we stayed together. We had to survive. I'm going to tell you about my guy in the middle between 4 and 5. I met a guy. I showed you the Motel Rest, the motel where I used to go help the people. They're now in Missouri. Clean the rooms and where the Freeburgs, the wrestlers used to show up. I showed you that motel already. Told you about it. Okay. That's where I married my number 4, and then we broke up. But I was still going to the motel. And this cable crew come in to put cable between Wills Point and Edgewood. And they were from Nebraska. Good looking, every one of them. And they got rooms at that motel. So I hooked up with one of them named Lynn. They got the cable in, and they had to leave a guy down here to run the head in. That's what they call the cable office, the head in. And he had to film the little church services, the little local churches, and the basketball games and shit like that. Local basketball games, baseball games. So his name was Lynn. He was in room number 8, an efficiency. I think I showed you that room. So anyway, we hooked up, and he said, since you don't have anybody living with you, I would rather pay you the rent I'm paying this motel and just live with you. And I thought, that sounds okay. So he moved in with me. He was the chillest, coolest, the only man I never had an argument with, because he absolutely would not argue, but he was a stonehead, weed head. Absolutely. He woke up with a little one-hitter, a little brass one-hitter, and he woke up smoking pot, and he went to sleep smoking pot. But that fucker would not fight. He wouldn't fight with me no matter what I did. He didn't care. He just sat around and grinned. He taught my daughter how to drive because he had patience. He went to the football game to pick her up one night, and the school was not very far from the house. And they didn't come back, and they didn't come back, and they didn't come back. So after a while, I see this truck just jerking up the road, just jerk, jerk. It was a stand. He drove a Standard. And he was teaching her how to drive, and he just didn't care. He just let her learn. He didn't help her, and that's the way she drove home. So anyway, she loved him. That was the favorite of all the men I've had. That was her favorite. I don't know if you people can remember those jellies, those shoes they had called jellies. He would put her jellies in the freezer, and he'd just play tricks on her, and she liked to go fishing with him. They just got along. He was cool. She always took his side. She always told me to quit bitching at him. I don't know how he stands you, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, the Michigan guy and me had something going on. Because we bonded, and so did the Rochester guy and me. But he left and went back to Rochester. Never messed with the West Virginia guy, but he left and went back to West Virginia. So it was just me and the Michigan guy left of our original group. So we had been messing around. He was married. He got divorced. He got with another girl. I think he got married. And I wound up with this Nebraska dude, Lynn. And they were friends. They both had Harleys. But I was doing both of them. They didn't know it. I mean, the Michigan guy knew it, but Lynn didn't know it. So anyway, they rode to Harley to Michigan a couple times. Then they rode to Nebraska. They were good friends. They went to all the poker runs and all that shit together. Like I'm saying, I can't fight with this guy. He will not fight. So one night, we're sitting there, and that Helter Skelter movie was on. I don't know if any of you have seen it. If you haven't, you need to watch it. About Charles Manson. And it came on, and they mentioned that White Album. Beatles, the White Album. So Lynn is sitting there, stoned. He says, and I was in the bedroom watching TV. He was out in the living room. He opened the bedroom door. He knocked, and then he opened it, and he said, Terry, you ought to really listen to that White Album. I said, shut the fuck up. I don't care nothing about no White Album. Get out of here. He closed the door. He went back out, sat down a few minutes, and he come back, knock, knock, knock. Terry, that White Album's really... And he kept doing that until it drove me insane. So I grabbed Brianna, and she said, why do I have to leave just cause? I said, just get in the car. We're leaving. I'm not staying around and listening to this fool talk about that White Album anymore. So she was screaming, didn't want to go with me. I made her get in the car. He comes out on the porch. He says, Terry, you don't have to get so upset. I just said that White Album, and that did it. I left. So we go to Mineola, try to get a motel. We found this roach-infested, worst motel in the world. I don't even know what the name of it was. I don't even know if it's still there. That's the one we got. It was broke down, beat up, no air conditioning. Could hardly shut the door. I had to put a chair underneath it because I just knew we were going to get raped or killed or something. We stayed in that all night. So when I come home the next day, he was gone to work, but he left a note. You really should just listen to that White Album. And that's how much he cared about what I did. He didn't even care where I went or nothing. So anyway, we were together 8 years. Because he was a stoner and didn't really care what I did. And I messed around with the Michigan guy the whole time. The whole time. And they were best friends. That's the way it was. That's the way I am. So, one day, my daughter liked to drink a little beer, so we'd get her them little ponies, them little Miller ponies. I think they were Millers. And she was only allowed, they had to last her a whole week. She could have one a day. She doesn't even drink it all now. That was when she was younger. He would get her them little ponies when he'd come in, and we told her, if you want to do any drugs, do them with us. Don't do them with a bunch of school kids. Do them with us. She never did. She learned how to roll joints, pin joints, but she never would smoke anything. Well, he loved the Pekingese. I'll give him credit for that. And he picked one out, and he named it Mercedes, and he called it Mercy. It was a dark red, Irish setter red with a black mask. That was his dog. He loved him. Took it to the head inn with him. Took it everywhere with him, and he had a work truck. It was about the color of the yellow stripe in a road, and he called it the Gross Pig. Well, Brianna, my daughter, named it the Gross Pig, and she didn't want him taking her to school in that truck. So she would ask him to park away where they wouldn't see her. Well, he wouldn't. He would pull right up to the front of the school. She'd get out, and the shit would fall out on the ground, all his tools and everything. He'd laugh at her. She said, don't come pick me up in that Gross Pig. Well, when my mother came to visit, she liked him too. He would take her to the head inn with him. Let her sit in the office, watch whatever she wanted to on TV. Patsy Gale, my friend that you met, four-wheeling, I'm still friends with. Her and my mother would go shopping because I don't like to shop and I won't shop. So her and my mother would go off and go shopping. Sharon, my truck driver friend, and my mother were real close. She did stuff with her. I barely did anything because I don't really like to do anything. And so it rocked on. We were together for 8 years. And I did what I wanted to do, basically, all the time. And he was with my daughter. So anyway, at the end, I met the 1%er guy. I'm not going to tell you what club he was with. And I had two 1%ers, one right at, well, number 4 was, and then Lynn was in between them for 8 years, and then number 5 was. Lynn was just a regular biker. He didn't have no name on him. He just rode by himself, him and a Michigan guy. So I met this 1%er, number 5, over in Quitman at a party. He drove to Dallas to Peachtree Apartments, picked me up, and my mother passed away in the meantime. He's the one that called all the motels in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and found me. Well, I still really wasn't with him. I was still living with Lynn. By the time I got back, he said he'd leave his wife. Well, I had to get rid of Lynn, so I don't even know what I told him. I don't think I told him I had a boyfriend, but something. Anyway, he was devastated, all upset. Well, then Sharon, my truck driver friend, kept seeing Lynn whining around, feeling sad about me. So she tells him everything about me and the Michigan guy. Everything. Tells him everything about it. So he'd quit feeling bad. Well, Lynn goes straight to the Michigan guy's house, straight to his house, asked him if it was true that we'd been messing around this whole time. Well, the Michigan guy said, no. I love Terry like a sister. We're Yankees, blah, 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 the whole story. So in the meantime, I get home. There's no cell phones. So the Michigan guy calls me on my home phone. He says, whatever you do, Lynn was just here. Your friend, your best friend, went and told him everything. Whatever you do, deny it, because I did. I said, okay. Sure enough, Lynn shows up. He's crying, tears down his face. Felt so bad. He said, Michigan come and told me this or that. And I said, it's a lie. It's a lie. We've never done anything. We're just friends. Well, he half-assed believed me. He didn't have no choice anyway. So he goes and sees his weed man, Scotty. I'm not going to tell you his last name either. And Scotty and me never got along. He never liked me to begin with, because he knew what I was about. So he goes and whines to Scotty about me and the Michigan guy. And Scotty says, Lynn, do you really think that Michigan guy would have anything to do with that stupid bitch? You're the only one that wants her. And that made Lynn believe that nothing ever happened. My daughter graduated about that time, and Lynn and me were already broke up, but he went to the graduation with his new girlfriend, who he wound up marrying, who he moved back to Nebraska with. They're happy. He had a happy ending, everybody, so don't feel too sorry for him. And then me and the 1%er, who had moved in by now or was hanging there most of the time, he wanted to go to her graduation. So I'm naked in the bathroom getting a shower or something. My daughter had already left, and the cops show up, bam, 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 to arrest the 1%er for something, terroristic threats or some shit. I don't know what it was. Well, they took him. They took him to Wood County. So I wound up going to the graduation by myself, and Lynn was there with his new girlfriend. And I went over and talked to him and told him I was happy about it, blah, blah, blah. It was a good graduation. Well, I don't know when the 1%er got out of jail. I didn't have nothing to do with getting him out. He got out somehow. I can't even really remember what the charges were. And after that, he moved in. And then we got married and had the biker wedding, and I've got pictures of that. And I looked like I was under gunpoint, because I looked sad, because I knew it was a mistake, a big mistake, but I did it anyway. Well, in the meantime, me and Michigan still never quit messing. We never quit messing with each other until he passed away. And he passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. We were still messing with each other up till that day. No matter who I was married to, no matter who he was married to, we never quit. Did we, Hyena? I don't think Hyena ever met him. No, you never met him, did you? So anyway, that's the story of me and the 8 years I was with that guy and the guy in between that lived with me. And then I had a couple other ones that lived with me a little while, not long, and I'll get to the latest one before long, the worst one of all. Probably what I had coming to me, it was kind of like karma, maybe, for what I'd always done. But that was the story of Lynn, and I've got pictures of him. Anyway, about the Pekingese, Mercy. So he gets arrested for some drunk driving, or I don't even remember what it was. He calls me up. He had the dog with him. He always had that Pekingese with him. Everywhere he went, to work, wherever he went, he took Mercy with him. So he calls me up from jail. He said, I know you're not going to come bail me out, but will you pick the dog up? They took her to the dog pound. So I had to go get Mercy out of jail, get her out of the dog pound. And he gets out all that trouble. He pays some lawyer some ungodly amount of money, and he got out of it. Anyway, when he left, when he finally decided to leave, he asked if he could take that dog. I said, absolutely. I wouldn't think about separating you and that dog. So he took the dog, and he went back. He stayed here a little while, and then he finally went back to Nebraska. But the woman that he married was from Edgewood, Texas. In fact, he met her right before my daughter graduated, and they're still together. He still talks to my daughter a little bit. He doesn't talk to me at all. So that's the story of, I guess he would have been spare guys. He was in between 4 and 5. I don't know what he'd be, 4.5, 5. But we were together the longest of any of them. 8 years. 8 years, and I need my snap because my throat's getting dried out. Hi-ho. Anyway, I love how the bottom feeders are scrambling for content. I love it. I absolutely love it, Cooch. I love you playing the bees' lives. And she's even putting the mob tube on there. So you're getting the bee, the mob wives, what they're talking about, all in one show. What more could you ask for? 3 or 4 people talking on one show. It's fantastic. I don't have nothing to do with, I've never liked her, not liked Cooch. I don't even know nothing about her. I know I was involved in that cat rescue, and I'm the only one that put up any big bucks to get the cats out of there that I handled. I do know that much about my part of the cat rescue. It took money to get them out. Not a bunch of phone calls and willy-nillying around with a bunch of people. Money talks and bullshit walks. And Kevin is having a fucking nervous breakdown or something. He's acting really clingy and really desperate. He's never acted that way. We've talked since September. It all started, I told you, Lee Cole. Love you. He met me on your channel. And I was thinking Love After Lockup. I know a lady that knows the producer. When they got done telling me everything, I said, no, I ain't going to do that. I don't want them down here filming around my dogs and shit. I don't need the money, because I would have got all the money. Kevin wouldn't have got any, unless I wanted to give him some. So that kind of went out of the works rather quickly. And then I just was talking to him because he's good looking, because I see him on the virtual. I like his accent. You heard his accent. And I just kind of got liking talking to him. But he never acted like he really cared, and I didn't act like I really cared. He just kind of didn't matter. Well, then, when I found out about the probation, I threw a fucking gasket over that. I said, I'm done. I ain't being with somebody that's going to be... Now since that big fight happened, but I told him, I wouldn't do nothing until he gets out. I'll still talk to him, keep money on his books. Ain't no big deal. He's acting real clingy. Now he's talking about maybe getting it changed so he can get out in Texas. Well, I don't want him doing that. That's for damn sure. He can stay in the state he's in. So I don't know what's going to happen, but he's acting real desperate, real clingy, calling me 8 times a day. He's getting like high maintenance, if you know what I mean. I don't like high maintenance females or men. I never have. I like to come and go and do as I please. I don't want to have to answer a phone. He even went so far as to do this. He's never been jealous acting. Never. So I told him, in fact I would have, if something hadn't come up, that Patsy Gale and I were going to go to a casino. We'll be gone all weekend. I said, don't bother to call me because we're going to be gone. He said, well, just take your cell phone with you and we'll do a virtual and I can watch you play the slot machines. I said, is he getting crazy? I'm not going to take my cell phone and let him watch me play the nickel machine. Get real. I'm not doing that. And I have to drive clear to Oklahoma anyway. I won't go to Louisiana. I hate the boats. I go to the Indian Reservation in Oklahoma. Grant, Oklahoma is where I gamble. So anyway, I said, Gail, I ain't going and taking him on no cell phone, sit there and watch us play just so he can see I'm at a casino or something. He's kind of jealous of the guy that fixed my floors. Looks like. So anyway, it's rocky road. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe some of you guys got an idea. I don't know what's up with him. But anyway, that was the weed head. The man that would... I even jerked his beard around because he had a real long beard. I even jerked his beard around one time trying to get him to fight or do something. Nothing worked. The biggest fight we ever had was that White Album thing. And he was just doing that to fuck with me. He kept saying, White Album, White Album. And to this day, I've never listened. I never liked the Beatles. I was a Rolling Stones gal. I liked the rougher types of bands. I didn't like the little sissy Beatles. Seemed like sissies to me. I never liked them. So anyway, you bottom feeders and mob wives. What a bridge I gapped. God, that was brilliant. I never knew the mob wives were that weak, though. I didn't really research them. The only people I knew into mob wives was MRE and fucking Lauren. And I hated her, and she came from the bottom feeders. I knew what she was all about. I didn't know FBS or the Pool Stick Bandit or any of them, but when I got in there and started seeing how they reacted, I said, my God, there's no difference in them. They're exactly like the bottom feeders. The man version, well, not really the man version, the lady version, they fit right in with them. They're just like them. I mean, they do the same shit. They call cops, they call families, they call jobs, they show pictures. Half the time they don't know what they're talking about, but it doesn't matter. They keep right on yapping and running their mouth. So happy togetherness. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I have a fish horror story for any fish people that are on here. I had 25 beautiful guppies that were bred and raised right here. But they all look the same color. So I go to the pet store that I did the review on here. I had already got some platies and they're fine. They're still fine. They're wonderful. So I got 2 beautiful guppy males with different colors to mix with mine and 2 females. And I know that you're always supposed to quarantine your fish. Always. But that guy had such a clean shop, and the fish looked so healthy, and my platies had done so well. I thought, well, now I'm just going to put them in there. So I put the 4 I got from him in there with mine, and everything was hunky-dory. And then 2 days ago, I think it was, I looked, and I said, where's all my guppies at? And there was exactly 1 guppy, 1 male that I got from him, a beautiful orange tuxedo or whatever they call them, male, and 5 of my little tiny babies. And that's all I have left. The rest died. So fish people, quarantine your fish. I learned a valuable lesson, something I should have done, and I didn't do it. Thankfully, the ones I've got, the males doing great, and the little babies that I already had are doing great, so maybe I'll get some good colors, but I did learn a lesson. I'm not going to shortcut stuff. Quarantine your fish people. This is a lesson to my fish people. And Russian, if you're in here, I go to your channel every chance I get. Please subscribe to Dada Russian. I'll put his link. Subscribe to Rolex. He's going to have a great channel. He did a live. It was great. He's getting good numbers already. How many of you think Rolex is going to be a star? Absolutely, she says. Absolutely. He's seen right through these mob wives, too. Lee Cole, thanks again for Kevin. Wasn't for you. He would have never found me. And I'm going to get off of here. This is just a little Saturday story time, and then I'll be posting one tomorrow, a Sunday morning one. And then I'm going to do a food review Tuesday of a stuffed baked potato. Tammy, Brenda, Sylvia, Dixie, anybody else I care about? Cooch, I love your channel. You're the only bottom feeder I watch. So, ciao.